going to give me her time.
I'm next on the list. I will give Dr. J my time.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Trudy Jermanovich, and I have many items to cover today. As you all must know, but many citizens may not know, the Broward County School Board is being sued, along with the Florida Department of Education and other districts, by a group of very brave parents. These parents do not believe the present testing regime is being fully implemented fairly across the state, especially when considering the retention of third-grade students. They believe that their child's 180 days of hard work and testing should not be negated by one day of a questionable test. You can go to the Opt Out Florida network to see how this is progressing. We are not anti-testing. We support multiple measures of authentic assessments like portfolios, project-based assessments, collaborative projects, and so on, that can be used to inform instruction and which do not result in punitive consequences for students, teachers, and schools. We want in-depth forms of assessments, not just a few items completed on a computer, even if it's throughout the year. We want things that reflect what children actually know. So we are not anti-testing. We are, however, very much against the high stakes that federal and state policymakers have mandated because they are accompanied by inhumane consequences, and they take power away from local schools and communities, and they suck millions of dollars out of our already underfunded public schools. I also want to address some items on today's agenda. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary has several definitions of the word rigor: harsh, inflexibility in opinion, temper, judgment, severity, the quality of being unyielding or inflexible, strictness, austerity, an act or instance of strictness or cruelty, a condition that makes life difficult, challenging, or uncomfortable, rigidity, stiffness. Is this a description of a Broward classroom? Is this how we want our students and teachers to be taught and judged? I say, should we give them more rigor? Rigor is the word du jour from the DOE, foundations giving grants, and districts throughout the country. According to the experts, rigor will work and ultimately result in higher test scores. Unfortunately, this was said 15 years ago, and teachers are really sick of hearing that word. Instead, our district should allow teachers to demonstrate vigor in the classroom. Leave them alone and simply let them teach. Instead, this year, as has been in most recent years, we have another new method prescribed as the best method for rigor to be implemented. The next expensive experiment begins. Unfortunately, this happens year after year to the detriment of our children and our teachers. In your agenda today, you have two items which are related directly to the continuation and waste of huge amounts of funds in Broward County schools. The first item is II-1, and it is with the New Teacher Center Corporation. And the second is II-2, the agreement with the Learning Services International Corporation. Since both of these items directly affect all teachers in this county, I do not believe these should go forward without first being fully vetted and approved by the new officers in the Broward Teachers Union. These expenditures should be postponed at this meeting. They may be fine programs, but this type of decision, which is the type of decision which should not simply be a top-down decision. And it appears you are also using teacher incentive funds to fund money for this program from the district. These funds are misused in this way, and attaching them to a punitive teacher evaluation program without contacting the BTU, the organization which represents all district teaching personnel. That's no way to raise morale and retain experienced teachers. Let's change the beginning of this year with truly listening to the educators in the classroom and by asking how they should be evaluated. Don't just give them a canned program. And I also would like to say that I will again repeat a request. I've come to you again and ask, why do you hold the time for public speakers in the middle of both the workday and the school day? Why don't the majority of board members urge the chair of this board to change the time to a more reasonable hour? No policy changes are needed, just a revamping of your schedule on the agenda. You will recall that I gave you a copy of your policy last year. Strong communication skills, I'd still have to give the board and superintendent an F. And I referenced the previous things that have gone on in this meeting. And I'd also like to say that you show little rigor in attempting to change this behavior. Again, I request that the very next board meeting and for the rest of the year, the time for speakers is changed to a more reasonable hour from noon time to 5:30 to 6 p.m. Remember, look around the room. You are denying your constituents their right by holding the time for public speaking in the middle of the school and the workday. We had hoped, if Ronnie was here, to give you her minutes so that you could answer our concern about changing that time. Sorry, we can't do that.
Thank you. Ronald Flournoy.
He was not able to attend. He had to work.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Michael Ryan, City of Sunrise.